Today, I'm giving my friends a little treat.
I'm going to use all my art class skills, which is not that much, and try to make this look a little bit more colorful, presentable. And finally, I'll round off with salt and pepper to taste.
A lunch for 5 people. Thing is, my friends don't know this delicious looking meal came from this.
Yeah. Okay, wow. This looks pretty authentic. Looks almost like a chef-prepared meal. Ouch. Preparing the whole meal took me less than half an hour, and we're good to go. So Jai, how's the food?
You know what, Riri? I think it's really not bad. I honestly say 7 upon 10. 7 a bit dry. But you know what? Nice job. Sometimes you go to some restaurants and some of the spaghetti is like quite watered down. This is good.
Yanni, any
The
thoughts?
curry is good. I actually give it 8 upon 10.
Wow!
8 upon 10 for the
And
curry.
the biryani is nice.
The rice?
Nice.
I'm just impressed that you prepared so many different cuisines just for one meal.
The soup is great, man. I like soup.
Okay. What if I told you guys that your meal is totally out of the box and microwave prepared?
Where you get the soup? I'm gonna stock up.
Can you guys actually tell like the difference between this and a home cooked meal?
If you ask me between this and whether a human being cooked this one on the spot for me, I don't think so.
Can't tell.
I can't tell.
I'm glad I can use a microwave properly. Microwave cooking with Ray.
I'm not the only one lapping up ready-made meals. In 2019, Singapore's largest supermarket chain saw a 10% increase in sales of frozen ready meals in just 1 year. And chilled ready meals, a 5% increase.
In this episode, I investigate what goes into our ready meals and what it does to our bodies.
But first, let's talk about how these meals came about. In 1953, American F&B company Swanson was left with too much turkey from their Thanksgiving. 200,000 kilograms to be exact. But they had the perfect solution. Inspired by airplane food served on trays, they converted the leftovers to TV dinners. These frozen ready meals were a massive hit. 10 million were sold in just 1 year. Since the 1970s, domestic freezers and microwave ovens have become commonplace. And with the rise in dual-income families, meals that beat the clock were all the rage. Pop them into the oven and voila! Dinner is served. Meet Joreen Yeo, a freelance actress in her 30s. This is what her fridge is usually filled with. I've arranged to meet Joreen after one of her grocery trips.
I see you've got your stash of ready meals. And why do you eat ready meals so frequently?
First of all, I don't cook. And secondly, because of my irregular working hours, it can be as early as 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. and ends as late as 9 or 12 a.m.
Imagine, right, if there were no more ready meals at all. How would you survive?
I don't think I can survive without ready meals, so I think I'll be stuffed.
Wow,
and I
okay.
don't really want to eat fast food, although it's 24 hours.
But freshly cooked meals are so available in Singapore, like why not choose that?
By the time I knock off, hawker centres or food court might have closed already.
And how about food deliveries?
I need to pay that extra $2 to $5 delivery charge, and I need to wait for an additional 45 minutes.
So are you concerned about what goes into the ready meals?
Not really, I'm not that concerned, but it's more on filling of the stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine, like, is there more?
So for Joreen, convenience is king. Plus the sheer variety of ready meals in the market now means she is spoilt for choice. I'm heading to Red Mart, the largest online grocer in Singapore. To date, they have sold over 4,000 kilograms of ready meals in 2019, a 35% increase from the year before. I want them to show me their range of ready meals.
Richard, just how many varieties of ready meals are there here?
In the Red Mart range, we have about 3,000 in total.
3,000?
3,000 exactly.
When I was younger, I always thought that, there's just pizza, right?
Yes.
But how has it evolved over the years?
If you look at our range, we have every international cuisine, so from Thai to Indian to Korean.
So which would be like the most popular? Yeah.
Pizza is the king, always will be probably
Yeah.
as well. But interestingly, within pizza alone, there's developments from suppliers such as gluten-free. So in addition to that, we've got national cuisines. Singapore soups has become one of the fastest growing subcategories, growing at almost 50% year over year. But also got, for example, a nasi lemak, chicken rendang.
But something like a nasi lemak, I could find something like that in a coffee shop. Why would I want a ready meal version?
I think it's the convenience factor of having that product in their fridge or freezer for the midweek. And then if you look at things like the shelf life of those kind of products, your chilled ready meals have got a shelf life to a week. Your frozen ready meals, anything up to 6 months and beyond.
That's pretty long. Wow, this one lasts to November 2020. That's more than a year from now. I wonder what makes them last so long.
I'm investigating the new wave of ready meals in Singapore. And I've discovered that some ready meals can last as long as 1 year. Extending the shelf life of foods dates back to the 1800s. Techniques like drying, canning, and pickling have gotten their hold on time.
But what exactly makes ready meals last so long today? I'm hungry for some answers.
I've decided to follow the food trail to a ready meals manufacturer. Select Group's Taste Asia develops ready meals that include some of our local favorites, like chicken curry with rice, dishes that take at least 3 hours to prepare.
Simin,
Yes.
hi, I'm ready.
Hi.
And today you're going to show me how Taste Asia preserves its ready meals?
Yes, let's go.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so this is our packing room where we pack our ready meals.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Simin, generally your ready meals have ingredients, like coconut milk or like laksa and curry.
Yeah.
But I always thought those things can't keep for long. So how do you guys manage to keep it that long?
Okay, so one of the common methods that we use is actually blast freezing. Okay, so we have already prepared some baskets of curry chicken that is ready to undergo the blast freezing process.
Okay.
Would you like to try to push it in?
Let's do it. Can you have some help, please? Thank you, boss.
It takes about 4 hours to be blast frozen.
Blast freezing is simply rapid freezing. Compared to normal freezing, this method keeps food fresh for longer because temperatures drop quickly to minus 18 degrees Celsius and below. This prohibits the growth of microorganisms.
And is there like a finished product that I can have a look at?
Yes, yes, we do.
Oh, this is almost done.
Yes, this is done already.
Wow. It's really rock solid.
Correct.
So like this, you can actually keep it for about a year.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so other than blast freezing, we also have another preservation technology, which is called the retort technology.
What's
Yeah.
retort technology?
Maybe I'll show you.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yep, so this is our retort machine.
Wow.
Yep.
This looks like some kind of like a time space machine kind of thing. It's like, woo. So what are we doing here?
Okay, so the food is sealed in these retort pouches.
Yep.
Yep, and place it on these trolleys. So now we just
Once
have to push
sealed,
into the retort
the
chamber.
food goes through a high-pressured steam
Quantum
machine.
Okay, so next all you have to do is just to press the start button.
Okay.
What is going on in there, and how does it help to preserve the food?
So actually steam is pumping into the equipment. Okay, so this process works by with high temperature as well as pressure. It could actually destroy the microorganisms within the food, and that's how actually prolongs the shelf life of the product without even putting it into refrigeration.
Oh, so you don't need to refrigerate
No,
or
no
freeze
need.
these. Between the two methods, which one is the more common one?
Okay, actually both methods are common. It's just that they serve different purpose. Ready meals that is gone through blast freezing will be sold in supermarkets, for home use. But for products that gone through retort process, it's more for like outdoor camps or adventure camps. Whereby they need to bring the products out to field camps.
So are preservatives used in any of these methods?
With these two technologies, we don't actually add any additives or preservatives into our ready meals.
So technologies like retort heat sterilization and blast freezing are able to keep food safe for consumption even after 1 year. But what about the taste? How do ready meals taste fresh even after so long? And my curry chicken and rice will be ready in 5 minutes. So after going through these preservation technologies, is the food like any different from a fresh meal?
To be honest, there is still a slight difference between fresh meal and frozen meal in terms of the texture and flavor.
How do you offset that effect, the loss of taste and loss of flavor?
Okay, so through a lot of R&D trials, we actually choose the ingredients wisely. So ingredients such as like leafy vegetables and tofu, soy-based products, they are not very suitable for blast freezing technology. The leafy vegetables, it tends to be softened. And the tofu, it will become very mushy.
So you guys use a lot of food technology and research to offset that effect of the loss of texture and a little bit of flavor as well. Is this common in the ready meal industry?
So there's this thing called the food additives. Some companies would actually use these to enhance the flavor or texture of the product.
I've learned that by and large, ready meals we have in the market now are preservative-free, thanks to the latest technologies that we have to extend their shelf life. But I've also learned that there could be food additives in these meals which are used to enhance their flavor and texture. I wonder if these food additives are of any harm to our bodies. So I've decided to look some of them up. But here's the problem. Honestly, I can't make out what a third of these ingredients even are. I think I need more information, and I might know the person for the job. Johanna Tan has a decade of experience in teaching and researching about food science. She's arranged to meet me with 3 others who are keen to learn about what's in our ready meals. Today, she's serving us lunch with a twist.
So are you excited to see what's on the menu?
Yeah!
We have xanthan gum, we have maltodextrin, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, and finally seafood hor fun. So what would your choice be for today?
I don't know 3 of those things.
I don't think you're giving us much of a choice, right? I'm going for seafood hor fun.
Seafood hor fun?
Yeah, we're gonna have to go with that too.
Same, seafood hor fun.
Okay, so we'll have 4 seafood hor funs then.
Yes,
and
thank you.
None of the rest.
No.
They don't look very appetizing anyway.
All right, so I'll bring the food out shortly.
Thank you. So have you guys actually seen these ingredients before? But how do you feel about eating them?
Gross.
Yeah.
Like what even is that?
They sound well, all the chemical names, right? Then I suppose they're not as healthy.
Okay, the hor fun is ready.
Yay! We were trying to figure out what are the 3 other items on the menu.
So actually, all these 3 ingredients are present in the seafood hor fun that you're eating now.
What?
Does that scare you?
Yeah.
Xanthan gum is basically a stabilizer, so it is used to add texture or maintain the texture of foods. It is also used to enhance the viscosity or the thickness of sauces. So for example, like in the hor fun that you're eating now, there's some xanthan gum in the gravy.
I'm wondering, why must they be added in to the freezing process?
So that during cooking, And after the freezing process and when we reheat this hor fun in the microwave, the viscosity of the sauce still maintains as per the original viscosity. Maltodextrin is also a stabilizer. It also acts as a bulking agent.
So would it be right to say like the dish looks like it has a lot of volume in it because of the maltodextrin?
Yes, that would be right. And hydrolyzed vegetable protein is a flavor enhancer.
So, with regard to the hor fun that's freshly made at the Tzi Cha store, right? Does that hor fun also contain those 3 ingredients?
They would probably use other sources of starch, for example, like cornstarch, which is what is used commonly. So the reason why these frozen meals would not use cornstarch is probably because the cornstarch is not so stable to the freezing process.
Does having these additives in our food pose any risks in terms of health for us?
Actually, for all these 3 ingredients here, the amounts that are used in the food that you're eating is actually very little, so that it won't cause any harmful effects on your body.
So flavor and texture enhancers do not pose health risks for consumers. But does that make ready meals healthy? How often can I be eating them? I've discovered that ready meals contain food additives, and these additives are safe for consumption. But does that necessarily make them nutritious? For some answers, I'm meeting Jacqueline Roytons. She's been in the field of nutrition and dietetics for over 15 years. She mainly eats freshly cooked meals at home. Today, she's showing me a range of 5 different meals that came out of a box. They range from what could be considered the healthiest to the worst of its kind. Steamed fish with brown rice, lemongrass baked chicken, basil chicken with rice, curry chicken with rice, and chicken clay pot rice.
Jacqueline, how often can I eat ready meals?
If the meal meets the saturated fat guidelines, it's not too salty, there's no reason why you can't eat it every day.
Okay, so I could actually eat a ready meal pretty often. I didn't know that.
But if a meal is not so healthy, then keep it down to no more than twice a week.
What makes these ready meals unhealthy?
It's usually the saturated fat and the sodium levels in the food that makes it rather unhealthy.
Is it like a normal meal can be as unhealthy?
A normal meal can be as unhealthy and a normal meal can be as healthy. So you have to be very discerning. You need to make an informed decision.
What is the guideline for, sodium and saturated fat?
So the guideline is not to have more than 2 grams of saturated fat per 100 grams of the meal. For sodium, it's no more than 400 milligrams per 100 grams. This curry, most likely it exceeds the saturated fat guideline because of the coconut milk that's in there.
And how much saturated fat should we consume in a day?
If on a 2,000 calorie diet a day, you should consume no more than 10% calories from saturated fat. So what that translates to is about 16 to 22 grams of saturated fat every day.
How about like this dish, for example?
So this dish is very high in sodium and saturated fat. So it exceeds the guidelines by quite a bit.
Probably tastes pretty good though.
It would taste pretty good, but then you wouldn't eat it as often.
What actually would happen if I had too much sodium or saturated fat in my diet?
So too much sodium can cause an increased risk in heart disease, stroke, blood pressure. Too much of it causes water retention, which means that you have an increase in blood volume, and that means that your heart has to work really hard and your blood vessels can harden because it's been under so much pressure. So that leads to the increased risk. If you eat foods that's very high in saturated fat very often, so saturated fat is directly linked to an increased risk of blood cholesterol, which is also a risk factor for heart disease and stroke. About the additives, it's more of the
So just like any other meal, whether home cooked or bought at a hawker center, I just need to make better choices. And at least for these meals that came out of a box, there are labels that I can read.
Now, for many of us, ready meals are simply convenient. But I found out that they could be a lifesaver for a specific group of people.
Diabetics. 1 in 9 Singaporeans suffer from diabetes. This number is expected to rise to 1 in 7 by 2050. So, in 2018, NTUC Food Fair introduced a range of ready meals marketed as being diabetic friendly. Swat Lee heads the team behind the development of this line of products.
Swat Lee, when did you discover that there was actually a market for ready meals that would be suitable for diabetics?
Around 2 years ago, for meals to be suitable for diabetics, it has to be low GI, low in glycemic index. So we came up with this low GI range when we see a gap in the market, as well as to support the nation war against diabetes. So for example, a diabetic customer, they might go out to the market getting knowledge, hearing from others that brown rice is lower in GI, whole grain bread is lower in GI, which is true, but they are not sure of the portion size, the type of ingredients, as well as the cooking methods that the stall might have used.
So how do you make these meals diabetic friendly?
There are 3 important parameters: the portion size, the ingredient used, as well as the cooking methods. We actually replace some of the key ingredients, the staples, with whole grain alternative. So for the cooking itself, we use steaming as much as possible. And after the steaming process, we will skim off some of the fats to manage the saturated fat level. At the same time, what we do is to reduce the sodium that we will be using. We try to use as much herbs and spices to bring out the flavor.
So these ready meals actually make it quite convenient for diabetics to manage their diet.
Yes, of course.
We're spoiled for choice with a variety of ready meals available in the market now. And with new preservation techniques, some of these meals can look and taste like home-cooked dishes even after 6 months to a year. But I've learned that I need to be more discerning about what goes into my ready meals, even if I'm starved for time.